Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton. Well, if you like defense and you missed the first half, you got a spot on the couch in your favorite beverage because you can enjoy the second half. Pitching's been pretty good. It has been a defensive struggle from start to finish.
We don't even have 300 yards of total offense, Ron, in this ball game. I think a lot of it has to do with the youth of the offensive line for both of these teams, but don't take away some of the individual efforts that we've seen so far. Of course, Quentin Groves came back for his senior year and played very well, but it's been pressure on the quarterback. Both defensive coordinators, Tim Tibesar from Kansas State and Will Muschamp from Auburn, have started blitzing almost every time that these teams go back to pass. And Groves really, I think, he came back to improve his stock, Ron, for the NFL draft. And I've seen him do a couple of things so far that he has really improved, especially at the line of scrimmage.
6-3 is our score. Let's go down to the sideline. Holly Rowe, what do you got for us?
Well, checking in with Kansas State's Ron Prince at the half. Ron said that he told his team in the locker room at the half, hey, this is not about us going out and beating Auburn right now. This is about us going out and playing the very best that we can play. He said we have to continue to pressure the ball, continue to attack. And he said on offense, we have got to find a couple of plays that will grab the momentum. But he pointed out he's very happy with his kickoff team. Guys, 3 returns, 76 yards. You know they led the nation last year. It's another good start.
Holly, it's been a defensive struggle, but you make the good point, and they erased a huge, nice return because of penalties, did K-State, or they would have had the ball well beyond midfield.
And I think Ron made a great point to Holly. They're really holding themselves back, Ron. They're making little mistakes. Same thing's happening for Auburn, but I think that's the perfect thing to tell a young team. Listen, we can play with these guys. You know that now. Now quit hurting yourself. Case in point, big kickoff return because of a dumb penalty.
Well, we'll see if the Auburn Tigers can reverse those fortunes. This is going to come to the 10. This is Patrick Lee. Lee, 25-30, grabbed by the face mask at the 30. They're going to have very good field position around the 45 if this is a major penalty. Well, it looked as though McKinney grabbed him with the face mask. We'll see if it's a 5-yard version or the 15-yard, a personal foul.
Yeah, well, Lee's head spun around, so I'm pretty sure they'll get him for the 15.
Personal foul, face mask, number 22 on the kicking team, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, there's another one of those mistakes. I mean, it's very difficult. Listen, you're going to try to grab the guy. But if you feel metal instead of jersey, try to let go. Well, that's a very dangerous play. Luckily, Lee's body was spinning in that direction, so may have saved him a catastrophic injury.
So they have a first down out across the 45-yard line. Trot, the tight end, is the man in motion. Fakes it to Tate, drills the ball, has a man open, it's intercepted, and look who. Marcus Watts has just been all over the football field tonight. Not only in the secondary, but he has 3 large plays on the special teams as well.
Well, and this ball was late. Watch Brandon Cox how long he stays on Robert Dunn. His eyes were over there the whole way. And Marcus Watts was up near the line of scrimmage and got back in time, but that was a mistake by the senior quarterback. He was locked in on his intended receiver the whole time, and everyone at Kansas State will tell you Marcus Watts is not only their smartest player, he may be their best player. That was an excellent job of the safety getting some depth and reading the quarterback.
Well, I'll tell you what, he is really an important part of this K-State football team. As I said, he not only produces in the secondary and gets them set right, calling the defensive signals, but he does a great job on special teams as well. Pressure coming on Freeman, but he gets the pass away and has it complete to Gonzalez. Gonzalez will step out of bounds at around the 43-yard line.
Well, it looks like Kansas State wants to go right back on the 14-yard game to what they did in that first drive. James Franklin, the offensive coordinator, calling a drop back pass right to start. Little bit of pressure, but the offensive lineman didn't give up. That was the key. If the offensive lineman gives up, it doesn't allow Freeman to step up, and that was a nice job by Nick Stringer, who'd been beat a little bit, but he didn't give up on the play to allow the quarterback to go up into the pocket.
On an alert in the Cal-Tennessee game. Pass pass drilled. The defender fell down, and the receiver, James Johnson, makes the reception. And just like that, at the 40-yard line is where K-State sets up shop already in Auburn territory after 2 pass plays.
You know, one of the things we were talking with Will Muschamp, the defense coordinator from Auburn yesterday, was how quickly Josh Freeman, how quick his release is. You expect tall guys to have a long, loping release, but that time Freeman saw the defensive back fall down, and it was out of his hand. And that is so difficult for a defense when a quarterback can just flick it that far.
Quick pitch, going to throw back to the quarterback as a flag is down. Freeman gets the reception, and now it's no play.
Well, I think it hit the ground.
Prince was trying to call a timeout. So there's a trick play, which they're pretty good at. Ask Texas. And they wasted it because they showed their hand, and they're getting a penalty, and it'll come back.
Illegal formation on the offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage.
And that's why Ron was trying to get that timeout. He saw that they didn't have enough men on the line of scrimmage, was not able to get that call.
You saw a 2-man stack on the right side. One of those guys should have been at the line of scrimmage. So it's first down and about 16 yards for the first down. They roll the pocket again. Freeman drills it, and there's Gonzalez. They check it. Murphy, Deion Murphy, gets outside at the 30, spins down to the 25-yard line, and Zach Etheridge comes over to make the stop, but not until they have gained 20 yards of the play.
Well, you said hello to Coach Snyder earlier. He's back in Manhattan, Kansas. One of the ways that Bill Snyder brought what was many considered the worst college football program in the country back to national prominence was with junior college players. And Ron Prince is doing the exact same thing. And because they lost Yamon Figures and his great speed to the NFL, they went and got Deion Murphy. And you can see how quick this young man is and has good hands. A nice combination for a junior college guy coming in at wide receiver.
Little flea flicker. This is Nelson. Was he going to throw? Nope, he's going to run it. And he'll be stopped after a gain of maybe 1 on the play.
Well, and that's a heads-up play by Jordy Nelson, because they were certainly trying to throw down the field on this reverse. Watch as Nelson slows down, but you expect the senior, there's nobody home. So he does an excellent job of tucking it.
Yep, he does.
Picking up 1 yard instead of trying to force that ball.
Think about this, too. 2 of the last 3 plays, he's reached into his gimmick bag. So Ron Prince is saying somehow, some way, we want to get in the end zone and get in there early here in this 3rd quarter. Short drop, quick pass. Tackle is missed as Puski takes the ball down to around the 15-yard line. And Reese Davis, let's check with you.
Ron, we've been keeping an eye on the rest.
Okay, Reese. Wow.
You're talking about reaching in the bag of tricks, 3rd and inches. Let's see if they take a shot. Jordy Nelson up top. Oh, they jumped. There's motion. Brett Allstott, the tight end on that side, fell forward in his stance. So now you go from 3rd and inches to 3rd and 5.
Snap, false start. Number 80 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Well, put an asterisk by that one and see if it comes back to haunt them. If they do not pick up the first down here, it's 3rd down at about 5.5.
It's exactly what Ron Prince told his team at halftime. We're going to hurt ourselves, guys. We can play with these guys. Let's quit hurting ourselves.
9 penalties, 79 yards against K-State. That's Nelson in motion to the top of your screen, and they throw it to him. That was behind the line, so he can throw it back. He does. Touchdown, Patton.
Is this Kansas State or Boise State?
Well, I told you. I said last year they beat Texas with a couple of halfback passes, trick plays, and tonight that's 3 that they reached into their bag of
same
tricks in
drive.
about 5 plays. Yeah.
Well, you've got to respect the aggressive coaching. If you're going to tell your guys, let's go out and play with them, and you're going to call the game like that, that sends a nice message to your young men.
Extra point is up and good by Rossman. And as we go to break, let's take another look at Patton. The pass is a backwards pass, and you know that means that he can throw it again. Patton looked like the first guy out to practice, and he takes it in to score.
Welcome back to ESPN's Back on Campus Weekend, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Well, Patton is the man who scored the touchdown, and we're going to show it to you. It was run to perfection.
Well, and here's the guy right here. Gerard Powers is still here. He's going to run with this slot receiver, and it's got to be Quentin Groves. He's watching the play, and he does not see Patton slip out, and he's just late reacting. You could see his head right there. He loses sight and does not get enough depth, and right there he knows.
You know why he took his eye off of him? Patton either was faking, but he reached to the ground like he was about to lose his balance. The minute he reached down, he took his eyes off of him and just forgot about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of when you run trick plays, you have to do stuff. Remember, we were lucky enough to call that Boise State game against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, and that great fake on the Statue of Liberty by Jared Zabransky was what drew the defense over to the left.
Well, here's the kick. Going to be taken at the 3-yard line by Patrick Lee. Big opening up the middle, and he'll take it back to the 30-yard line. Reese Davis, let's check back with you.
All right, Ron, looking in once again on what's been a highly entertaining offensive game. Tennessee and Cal tied at 21 on ABC. Nate Longshore, who's hit 11 of 15 passes in the first half, to Robert Jordan. That put Cal up by a touch. They've added a field goal, 10-point lead at the half. Georgia is cruising against Oklahoma State. Likewise for Alabama against Western Carolina.
Okay, Reese, 35-14. Georgia leading in that one, and this running play is going to go for naught. Just shoved out of bounds immediately. Ian Campbell is there to lead the attack on this play against Ben Tate.
Well, you look at Alabama playing Western Carolina. That was the 12th game that they added. Kansas State was the 12th game that Auburn added, and we were talking to Tommy Tuberville. Not only did they go on the road in 4 very tough road games in the SEC, but they've started against USC, Georgia Tech, Washington State, Kansas State, next year against West Virginia.
West Virginia, yeah.
And, I mean, they are not scheduling cream puffs for that 12th game here at Auburn.
That's Rodriguez in motion down to the bottom of your screen, and they set screen back into the boundary. Carl Stewart has a blocker. Whoa, does he get tagged?
I think Auburn has to find some kind of rhythm here, Ron. They don't listen. The game's obviously not out of hand, but very similar to the beginning of the game. Kansas State made it look pretty easy offensively that time, and it's been very conservative so far for Auburn offensively, but they just haven't been able to get the running game going. And here in 3rd and short, you don't want to say a huge conversion, but I think this is a big down for Auburn here.
3rd down, they need to take it to the 40-yard line, which is about 3 yards away. Cox going to throw the ball, almost picked off, and number 2, Watts, is there again. I'll tell you, if you stare down a receiver that he is in the vicinity of, you better go ahead and get ready for him to pick it off.
And that's the thing I think that you don't expect to see out of a 3rd-year starting senior in Brandon Cox. And boy, Watts is just watching him the whole way. What an excellent job. The coaches talk about this young man. It was a walk-on and a wide receiver when he got here to Kansas State. He has turned into a superb safety.
4th time that Auburn would have punted tonight. Shoemaker gets it away. Not real long, but a good hanging kick, and a fair catch is called for by Dion Murphy. Now let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper SEC update.
Well, there is no arguing. There's always the argument, Ron, every year, which conference is best year to year. There's no arguing which conference is the best over the long haul. The 75th anniversary, of course, Florida won the first, or excuse me, Tennessee won the first BCS championship. And then
T. Martin.
Yeah, LSU and Florida last year. And almost 73% non-conference since 2000. It's the leads all conferences. So over time, you cannot argue this is the best conference in college football.
Quick out pass, and his knee is down. It's going to be a loss of about 4 yards. Deion Murphy on the receiving end.
And you look at the top 25 this year getting started, and it is littered with teams. I think LSU, we'll see what happens. You know, they lost Stacy Searles. You mentioned that. He's now at Georgia, the offensive line coach. Will that offensive line gel? I think they have the talent to compete with anybody in the country, including USC. Florida, I'm not so sure. Lost a lot of guys on defense, but boy, this conference is stacked this year. 1, maybe 2 losses. Somebody in the SEC championship game is going to have at least that.
Freeman on 2nd down and long, right over the middle, complete to his tight end Mastrud. And Mastrud, the sophomore out of Beaverton, Oregon, is going to take it to around the 35-yard line. That's a gain of 12.
Well, Josh Freeman seems to have found that rhythm he had at the beginning of the game. And Will Muschamp, he's now bringing some of the bigger guys off the field, expecting a throw down here. He brought Josh Thompson off. Let's see if this is in fact going to be a throw, because he's got his lighter defensive line in there.
Kansas State leads it 10-6. Johnson makes it an empty backfield for Freeman as they roll the pocket. High catch, but it's made by Jordy Nelson. You know, the interesting thing is, and I want to ask you, how do you break that rhythm? But they're throwing simple stuff. They're making him comfortable again, like they did early.
And here's what I like about the play calling of Kansas State. The way Will Muschamp did it after the first drive in the first half was he blitzed him. And Muschamp told us he probably wasn't going to blitz him much, but he didn't want to sit and let this young man pick him apart. Well, now they're moving the pocket. So if you blitz off the edge and they get it, he's going to get on the edge, and you're going to have one-on-one coverage. So right now, I think you have to stay with the 4-man rush. I'm not sure if Kansas State's going to continue to move the pocket if you can blitz him too much.
He started off the game 7 of his first 10. Well, here in the second half, he is 7 for 7. Takes it to Johnson, pass out in the flat, and got that one to Pushki, this time one of his tight ends, and it's going to be a gain of about 5 or 6. And you know, boy, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that total right there. Just be patient and keep doing it. And he seems to, I keep going back to the term, comfortable doing this quicker throw.
Yep. And Will Muschamp thought that they could get pressure with 4.
Yeah.
And because they're getting the ball out so quickly, 3- and 5-step drops and moving the pocket, I don't care if you beat them right away, you're not going to get there.
Design play, quarterback draw, and you better bring a lot of help to make the tackle, because the quarterback weighs 260. And let's check in again with Reese Davis after that first down is made.
All right, Ron, Oklahoma State, everybody's been anticipating the debut of Sam Bradford. Bradford's debut went pretty well because DeMarco Murray's debut went extremely well. 5 touchdowns, 3 rushing, caught a couple of touchdown passes. 56-3, the Sooners, and there goes the talented number 7 as Murray is making his mark early for the Sooners.
Resets a ball game. We'll be doing this crew next week on ABC, an 11 o'clock Central Time kickoff. We'll talk more about it in just a moment as the pass is thrown to Johnson. And Johnson, they brought him out of the backfield and just posted him right there.
Well, Josh Freeman is favoring his left leg. He's already got a brace on it. And on that quarterback draw, where he went to slide, he got stuck between a slide and staying on his feet. And watch how his feet get stuck in the turf here. He's going to slide, and his left leg got caught, and it turned over. I think he may have sprained his ankle. I don't know if he got his knee, but he is definitely gimpy out on the field. And his brace moved a little bit on his leg, but boy, his ankle really turned when it got stuck in the turf.
Freeman is 9 of 9 this half. Reverse. Murphy. 20, 30, 25. At the 30 and then down to the 25-yard line, and they're going to say it'll be a first down plus about 7 yards as Zach Gilbert made the tackle.
Boy, and Alessana, the left tackle, once again making a nice block. Murphy just dipped under Quentin Groves. And now I think they've lost part of their playbook. I'm not so sure how mobile Josh Freeman is. They were using some sprint outs. They ran that draw.
He really limped away after he made the handoff that time.
I'd blitz him. I would come after him if you think it's a pass down.
Well, they're going to run another reverse the other way with Murphy. And he'll take it to around the 22-yard line. And let's check in quickly with Reese Davis. Reese. Thanks, Reese. Our situation, we had a real pitcher's duel in the first half. Now it's been broken wide open with trick plays and some real imaginative plays on the part of K-State. Pass in the flat, almost picked off. And that was Gerard Powers who stepped in front. And Josh Freeman was very lucky to get that one back.
You know, we were watching the film of him last year, and we were watching him against Texas, and we said, boy, sometimes he locks in. And man, did he lock in the whole way. And earlier in the game, we were talking about how excited all of Gerard Powers' teammates were because he really reads the ball well. That was a great read. Now,
nice job by Jordy Nelson to help play defensive back.
But now
he was 9 of 9 before that completion.
Amazing.
Third down. They need the 15-yard line. Over the middle, threw it behind. Pushki is tight end.
Boy, Josh Freeman is really favoring that left leg. They're going to be stuck. They were able to move the pocket that time. They brought Trey Blackman off the side. Will Muschamp making a nice call on that 3rd and long, and he had to throw it earlier than he wanted to. He's not going to be able to move like he was earlier.
This will be a new career long if he hits this one. Rossman's longest is 39 yards. This attempt is 40. Plenty of distance, and he got it. So we'll hold it right here with 7 minutes and 31 seconds. You can see the celebration because the coaching staff knows it is a new long for him.
Oh, and he's a guy transfer from Ohio University. Had a couple of big kicks while he was at Ohio.
Josh Freeman, the quarterback, on the sideline, and they're working on that leg, but boy, I'm with you. It looks as though that he did something that was not just a mild injury. He really started limping on the plays after that.
Well, I think it's one of those deals where it probably feels okay now because of the adrenaline and all the blood flow. But yeah, he's definitely, it's his ankle. You can see how he's kind of leaning into it to see. But watch how his left leg, he's got to learn how to slide. You know, that's one of the hardest things for a young quarterback to do, but he's got to get that leg tucked underneath of him.
Let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Ron.
All right, Reese. By the way, one other piece of information as far as K-State is concerned. You could see Josh Freeman standing on the far sideline talking with number 14, who is Carson Kaufman, who's a redshirt freshman. And Kaufman, by the way, his brother is the Kaufman, the tight end who plays for the Missouri Tigers, an outstanding tight end for Missouri. High spinner. Going to come down at the 5-yard line. This is Fannin. And he'll be tackled just shy of the 20-yard line. Marcus Perry down there on special teams. And let's go back to Reese Davis.
All right, Ron Clay.
Okay, Reese, thanks so much. Our situation, punting time for the Auburn Tigers, could not pick up the first down, just short of midfield. And here is the boot. Good high-hanging spiral this time by Shoemaker. Fair catch is called for and made by Murphy. So let's go to break. 5:26 remaining in the third quarter. Kansas State 13-6.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world. And ESPN Game Plan. See the most college football every Saturday. To order, call your pay-per-view provider. ESPN Game Plan lives here.
Downtown Auburn, as you can tell, pretty quiet down there tonight. for very good reason, because almost 90,000 people are over here. And what you saw first as those billboards were running was Toomer's Corner. And trust me, in about another hour, it won't be real quiet right there. Be a lot of toilet paper in that tree across the street from Toomer Drug Store. Ball is knocked loose. Freeman just picked it up and then throws it complete for a first down. Deion Murphy on the receiving end. And I mean, if the ball, let's say it bounced off his foot or whatever, that thing was free to pick up and walk into the end zone with, and he retrieves it and throws a first down.
Boy, you know, you wonder, Ron Prince said this young man's emotionally neutral. He's got a bum left ankle. He's hobbling around all over the field. He gets the ball knocked out, picks it up, knows where his receiver is. Kansas State has themselves a great quarterback in the making.
This time looks to his right and back to the left. Safety valve, and that's Jordy Nelson. And Holly Rowe, let's go back to you on the sideline.
Well, guys, Josh Freeman was, when he was trying to slide on a play about 5 plays ago, he was very awkward. His cleat caught in the turf. I saw him over on that sideline. He was trying to explain to his backup quarterbacks how awkward it was. He said that he kind of pulled something in his groin. Now, Kansas State won't give any injury updates, a la the Bill Snyder era continuing. But you can see him continuing to stretch there. He's pulled up his knee brace, but he hasn't sought any treatment from any trainers, so he appears to be fine.
Okay, Holly, thanks very much. Quick pass, batted down at the line of scrimmage by Marks. And we have not called Senderik's name very many times tonight, if at all.
And Mark's a guy who moved to the outside, near 300-pounder. Will Muschamp was looking for some more size at defensive end, and we talked earlier about Pat Sims and how he's improved. He allowed Senderik to move outside, who was very productive last year on the inside.
4:19 left to play, third quarter. This Auburn defense trying to get the crowd fired up. Auburn trails it by 7, 13-6.
Well, let's see if Will Muschamp brings a little more pressure. I sure would.
A movement at the line of scrimmage, and Elisana backed up before the snap.
Dead ball. False start. 78 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
Well, you know, this may be precautionary, but if you look, I was talking about number 14, Carson Kaufman. He is warming up on the sideline. Pressure. Quentin Groves. That's the first official sack that they have on him tonight.
Well, and now he's only 2 away from being tied for number 1 in Auburn history. But that had everything to do with crowd noise. Boy, did he get a jump on that snap. He was all the way by the tight end, Pushki, before he even got out of his stance. Poor Pushki could not hear the snap and just didn't get out of his stance.
Line drive kick, and this one is long, but it's very returnable by Dunn. 35, 40, hurdles the man 45, now cuts back to his right. One man to beat, the punter. And caught from behind at the 15-yard line by Marcus Perry.
Well, you said it, Ron, right when that ball came off, it was flat, and there was just too much room. Good job by the guys getting in front of their men for Auburn. They don't necessarily have to block them, and this young man, all of the coaches talked a lot about Robert Dunn and how great he was in the spring and how great he was in the fall. Has good body control, not blazing speed, but good movement in the open field.
Great punt, but it's obvious he outkicked his coverage. 47 on the boot, 48 on the return. Running play. Tate puts a head down and is in the vicinity of the 11-yard line. Ubano is the man who will get credit for the tackle on that play.
You know, a lot of coaches, Ron, that we've talked to over the last few weeks talking about the rule change on the kick, they all talk about how much more important that makes the punting game, because the free kick is going to become such a position, the field position changer, that the punt, now you've got to be really good. -1 on a punt is not going to be very good.
Two tight ends in the ball game, little play action. Nice job of the defensive end to stay at home, and he'll be tackled for a loss at around the 15-yard line, and it's Ian Campbell who did exactly what he is supposed to do, is staying at home.
Yeah. Well, he's playing lined up. They went to a 3-4, and Campbell, who another walk-on. There's so many great walk-ons on this Kansas State team, but he didn't lose control. You know, a lot of guys, when they run free, they want to go lay out the quarterback, but you're exactly right. Campbell stayed on his feet very well.
So that is officially a sack. So it is 5 sacks in the ball game tonight by Kansas State. Third down. Line to make is the 5-yard line. Blitz coming off the right side. Single coverage in the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking for Robert Dunn. And an injury to Brandon Cox now. Cox is down and holding his shoulder.
Well, he had one-on-one coverage. Well, that was a helmet-to-helmet hit there. Moses Manu. Should have been a penalty, Ron. It looked like Cox hurt his shoulder, but Manu led with his helmet, and that's a player safety issue. That should have been a penalty, automatic first down.
So the trainers quickly come over to take a look at Brandon Cox, and back out on the field to play. A young man who's already booted 2 field goals tonight. Wes Byram will try one from 31 yards. Good pass. Kick is good. So that makes it a 13-9 ball game with 1 minute and 46 seconds left in the third quarter. So let's take a timeout. One more look at quarterback Brandon Cox, who took a shot to that right shoulder. More on him in a moment. This telecast is available on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. Here's another look at that injury to Brandon Cox.
Well, he came up holding his right shoulder. From this angle, it looks like Manu may have got part of that shoulder, but it looked to me, Ron, like a lot of that got him in the chin. I wonder if maybe he had a stinger or something. Sometimes when you get hit up in the head area, if your head moves too fast, you actually get a burner down into your shoulder. Linebackers typically get those. I wonder if that is what Brandon is working with. If it was a stinger, sometimes they'll die down and you're okay. If you get another hit, you're going to feel it again, but he may be able to come back in the game if that in fact is what it is.
Morgan Hall, number 37, is going to be used as the kickoff man on this attempt. Byram, on a couple of them, have been around the 15 to the 20-yard line. So this is going to be a line drive kick that will go out of bounds at the 9-yard line. So Coach Tuberville uses a new kicker, and
yep, Kansas State's going to, looks like they're going to have them re-kick it again. Now you're going back to the 25-yard line to kick it.
And Holly, let's go to you. Do you have more on Brandon Cox for us?
Ron, I do. When he walked off the field, he was holding his forearm in front of his stomach like many athletes do when they have dislocated their shoulder. This place got so quiet. But he came over. He's been examined by the trainers. They're calling it a bruise. It's just on the back of his right shoulder. They have fitted him with an extra pad. They're saying that he is probably okay to play, guys, and they're just giving them that padding for a little extra protection.
And you go back to last year and what a beating his lower body took. Now we've seen tonight he smashed up his left thumb and got a cut. Now he's got a bruised shoulder. He's got to feel it a little bit in the chin after that. So 06 was the battering of his lower body, and it appears 07 is going to be the battering of his upper body. This young man just started to get worn out a little bit, and this, I think a lot of it has to do, Ron, young offensive line, and the running game's just not very effective, and it's allowing the defense to really key in on their pass rush.
So does this mean Well, we'll wait and see. As Holly said, it looks as though they're going to play him. But would it be Blake Field who would come in replacing Brandon Cox? We'll have to wait and see. Tell you this one close to the sideline, but it's going to be picked up by K-State. That's Patton. And Patton will take it out across the 40 to the 42-yard line. So you have to pay for your transgressions with that kickoff being moved back. And look at the field position that K-State has immediately.
Well, and it looks like Josh Freeman is going to come back into the game as the offense huddles and he's looking at looking for plays. It looked for a moment like Carson Kaufman, the redshirt freshman, who, by the way, they really liked. He had a great spring, very accurate passer, but
hey, the kid has never lost a game that he started at quarterback. Can you believe that?
But you can tell that Freeman is, whether it's a groin or the ankle, maybe a combination of the two, he's just not 100%.
Draw play to Johnson. And Auburn's all over that one. It'll be no game. And let's go back down to the sideline. Holly, you got another injury report.
Well, guys, their starting quarterback may have dodged a bullet for Auburn, but not so for their middle linebacker, Trey Blackman, who is their all-everything player on defense right now with an ankle problem. He's been out since about the end of the third quarter. Right now, they're calling him questionable to return. Guys, you know what a big hit that is for this Auburn defense.
That's for sure, Holly. He had that great return right at the end of the half after the interception and almost took it the distance. That's Murphy. Spins by a tackler and is down to the 50-yard line.
Well, a guy like Trey Blackman, not only does it hurt you in the running game because he is so active in the middle, but we saw him come blitz. He's a middle linebacker, but because of his speed, he could move to the outside. And with a gimpy quarterback who's going to stand in the pocket for the rest of the game for Kansas State, I would think Will Muschamp would want his fastest linebacker to be able to rush him.
Good look at Blackman on the sideline, trying to spur his defensive teammates on. A rocket thrown on this one, and maybe should have been intercepted by Brock, but he threw it so hard, couldn't hold on to it.
Well, this is, again, very talented arm when he needs to put it on. But, boy, that again, Ron, that's that confidence, that young confidence of quarterbacks, because Brock was all over that route. He never should have thrown that ball.
That's for sure. This is Rayer. Tim has been outstanding tonight. He's a senior out of Wamego, Kansas. Bearcats is signaled for and made at the 11-yard line by Dunn. And you could hear the ooh from the crowd because that thing looked like the ice cream coming out of the cone there as he almost muffed it. Show that probably we got 13 ticks showing on the clock. We are very, very close to the beginning of the final 15 minutes of play.
Well, Brandon Cox, who had a very difficult 2006, has not had a very good start to 2007. He has been hit time and time again. Now has a bruised right shoulder, already has a big cut on his left thumb.
Blitz coming off the left side. The running play by Tate had his headgear ripped off. A gain of 1, and it's Garvin who will get credit for the tackle.
Well, here's the key. You're allowed to grab the back of the helmet. That's a totally legal play. If Garvin did not grab the face mask, even though it looks worse because the helmet comes off, totally legal. There's absolutely nothing illegal. And listen, the crowd can go as crazy as they want, but as long as you don't grab the face mask, it's the back of the helmet. There's no foul there.
Garvin was trying to take his head off. So from the 11-yard line, 6 seconds left, third quarter. And Tate with the draw play to the 15-yard line. We are headed to the fourth and final quarter. And as they change into the field, we'll take a timeout. And are you surprised? Kansas State on the road, coming into one of the toughest venues in the country to win at. They are leading Auburn 13-9. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton. And our scores, we start the fourth quarter, K-State 13 and Auburn 9.
Now Auburn here with a 3rd and 6. They've been very conservative, Ron, down in their own territory. If you're going to do anything, maybe like a flanker screen, your quarterback is dinged. I don't think you take a big chance here over the middle of the field with a throw. Now they got Zimba, the right tackle. Now they're going to have to back it up. Got the freshman flinch.
Lee, this time last year, was playing in Rogers, Arkansas in high school.
The snap. False start. 73. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Now let's join Reese Davis. Okay, we will hold on that.
No, we'll go ahead and do it, Ron. 30-30 update. Clay Buchholz threw a no-hitter for the Red Sox against the Orioles. Plenty of coverage of that coming on SportsCenter after the game as Buchholz led the Red Sox to the victory. Appalachian State upset Michigan. Upset for the ages. SportsCenter after the game. Stay current with ESPN News.
Thanks, Reese. 3rd down for Auburn. 3rd down and 11. Cox got it complete. That's Rodriguez. That is a gigantic play. If Auburn is able to keep this drive going, put a huge asterisk by that one right there.
Well, I'm going to use the word gutsy, but you could use dangerous or questionable call. I mean, I know it's a 5th-year senior quarterback, but you're going to get pressure from the outside, almost get sacked right at his own goal line. Has to stand in there and fire a ball with a safety that we've seen a couple of times Marcus Watts make plays on. Boy, that was dangerous.
Here's Tate, bounces it to the outside, throws a stiff arm. A flag is down as he's tackled at the 30-yard line by McKinney.
Yeah, I think McKinney got up in his face mask that time. We saw earlier Garvin rip his helmet off, but that time I believe they're going to get a 5-yard. No, they got the personal foul. That's a big one, Ron.
Oh, it's going to move him to the 45-yard line.
Number 22, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
And that's exactly what Ron Prince told Holly Rowe.
Yeah.
Don't beat ourselves. Auburn has proven, well, I don't know. Well, that's illegal in the NFL, but that is not illegal in college football. He does not have his face mask. He has his shoulder. That is a missed call by this officiating crew.
So it's a 1st down at the 45-yard line. Tate stays in the ball game. They fake it to him and throws out, and that's Trot, the tight end, dropped it. Tommy Trot had the play that they wanted. He was open. The wide receiver Rodriguez had driven the corner down, which had cleared the area for him, and couldn't hold on to the football.
Well, the career that Brandon Cox has had has been very up and down. You did his very first ball game as a sophomore against Georgia Tech. He threw 4 interceptions, and everybody here said, oh, he'll never play for us again. And ended up having a great year that year statistically, and last year was a little down because of all the injuries, but all in all, a very solid career.
Short drop this time. Complete to McKenzie, and McKenzie, the tight end, will take the ball to the 35-yard line. This was a design play, and he paused, waited for the tight end to break free.
Well, let's check to see if Gabe McKenzie. Whoa, that was close. Now, if he would have stepped out of bounds and not been forced out of bounds, he couldn't have come back in. It looked like his heel was right on that line, but I'm not sure he did.
Well, as soon as this ball snapped, it's going to be a moot point.
In the books.
That's right. From the 35-yard line, it snapped, so it doesn't matter where that foot went right now. As Tate will take it maybe for a gain of 1.
Before the snap, we were buzzed. The previous play is under further review.
Well, that's exactly what they're going to review, is whether McKenzie was out of bounds. Now, in college football, if a defender forces you out of bounds, you can come back in, and as soon as you establish yourself back in the field of play, you can make the catch. I think his left foot I think his heel may have been out of bounds, and that was, the defender did not force him. He just ran around him. Well, it was a step or two.
See, there's an official right behind him, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there was no beanbag thrown.
Well, if we back it up, it's his left heel. There's a step right before that. Andrew Erker is the defensive back. Watch the step right there. Well, I don't think we're going to get indisputable video evidence to overturn it, Ron. Awfully close, but I think this play is going to stand.
You know, I started to talk about this earlier in the ball game, and now have an opportunity to do it. Ron Prince's demeanor on the sideline is actually really very good, particularly for a young head coach, because normally they are so aggressive and think the entire world is against them, and he will take his shots, it appears, when he needs to, but he doesn't do it every time. And he comes and he talks reasonably with the officials, and I think you're going to get a lot more out of them when you treat it that way, rather than just being a wild man on the sideline.
You know, last year when we were talking about coaches around the country, and we didn't get to do a Kansas State game last year, but you brought Ron Prince up because you'd met him at the Big 12 Media Day and said, you know, I was really impressed with him. Very thoughtful, intelligent guy, thinks beyond just X's and O's. And talking to him this week and watching how his team plays and how he holds himself and how his assistant coaches coach. Kansas State made a great hire. I mean, they lost one of the best ever when Bill Snyder retired, and I think they did a great job bringing in Ron Prince.
Now this one more look as this review is taking a very long time.
Going on the field stands. First down.
Well, now is this a momentum killer if you're
Auburn, for sure? And the other thing too, Ron, your defense
play's going to stand. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't kill momentum for Auburn. It kills momentum, I mean, for K-State.
Well, but it allows K-State's defense to get a little bit of a rest. You know,
yeah. That's not what I meant by momentum killer. So it's first down at the 35-yard line. Auburn trying to get back in this one. They're down by 4. Cox going to go long, and he got planted just as he threw the ball, and it's incomplete to Rod Smith. And how many times have you seen that on an underthrown pass? The defender keeps going because he has his back to the line, and the receiver comes back and makes the catch.
Well, you do that a lot. A lot of times you think, well, Rod Smith never found the ball. He was late finding that ball, Ron. He was so tied up with Garvin that he didn't see the ball soon enough. If he'd have seen it earlier, I think he could have made a play on that.
Yep, I agree with you. 13:38 left to play in our ball game. Draw play to take, going to be run down from behind by Antoine Moore. And it is because he read the count absolutely perfect.
And Moore is a guy that when we were talking to Ron Prince, he's an undersized guy, 5'10", 210. And they like to use him a lot like the Pittsburgh Steelers use Troy Polamalu. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's just reading the play, Ron. They kind of let him freewheel a little bit. He's had a wonderful game.
So it's third down. And if Auburn's going to hold on to this football, they've got to take it down to the 25-yard line of Kansas State. Blitz up the middle, picked up nicely. Pass thrown complete at the 30 to Rodriguez.
Boy, I think you're in the I mean, they really like their young kicker, Wes Byram. But I think you're at this stage. They're going to bring him out. Boy, this
50 to 53 yards is what
they said they liked.
Coach Tuberville told us when we asked him what he thought would be a maximum distance for the freshman Wes Byram, and he said between 50 and 53 yards.
So this is right in his wheelhouse, and then the reason they liked him, he does not get flustered. Has a great mentality for a young kicker.
47 yards will be the length of the attempt. Ball is on the way. Didn't get all of it, but it's long enough, but wide right.
He tried to scoop it, Ron. That leg swing was not as natural as his first 3 field goals.
Tried to kick it harder. So we'll take a timeout as we go to break. Can Quentin Groves start the magic happening again defensively for the Auburn Tigers? Right now, they need that effort. So we are back on a live shot is what you're looking at. Let's update the injury report. Blackman, number 10, out, injured. 24, Will Height has injured his hamstring. And right next to him is number 2, Aaron Savage. He has an air cast on his ankle. 3 very important defenders, particularly Savage. He calls the defensive plays and gets them lined up right.
He's the guy in the secondary who knows the entire scheme. So right now, Josh Freeman's going to go to work.
Freeman sets out of the backfield to Johnson. Johnson back into the middle, and he will pick up about another 3 yards of the play.
Boy, and Josh Freeman continues to shake his leg, bend down, try to stretch out that ankle. But trust me, Ron Prince and his offensive coordinator, James Franklin, know those guys standing on the sideline. Will Height, who was up first, second string cornerback, is out. Savage, the safety that set the defensive back end out, and the best blitzer gone. It's time to go to work in the passing game for Kansas State.
So it's Gilbert and Lee at the cornerbacks for Auburn now. Freeman over the middle quickly. The ball is caught by the tight end at the 50-yard line. That's Mastrud, and he will take it across midfield to the 47. Reese Davis, let's check back with you. Okay, Reese, our situation, K-State with a huge first down. They're now across midfield, and they'll go with the running play. Shoved out of bounds, and actually no gain in the play, but they ate up some clock there as Gerard Powers pushed Johnson out of bounds.
You know, with a career high today, 26 completions, he's been so efficient, Ron, that you'd think with 43 attempts they wouldn't be moving the clock, but they have been, because he's completed so many balls and they're starting to mix in the run, starting to shrink that clock a little bit with this 4-point lead.
And a moment ago, if Coach Ron Prince could have done anything, he would have tripped up Johnson before he got to the sideline. That cost him some valuable time. That pass, a short one, thrown complete to the 38 is Jordy Nelson. But here's our ESPNU All-State standing review.
Take a look at the AP Top 10 and just go ahead and get that one gone and see if all these other guys bump up. Virginia Tech had a tough one today. Very emotional day, obviously, for the Hokies, but East Carolina gave them everything they could handle.
Yeah, Skip Holtz's guys did a really good job, and that horrible interception that he threw, they should have still been right there at the end. No play as the flag is down.
Prior to the snap, false start, 78, offense, 5-yard penalty.
Alisana.
Well, you can't keep making mistakes. You've got 10:55 left in the game, and there's just been those little things. Kansas State has played well enough to win this game, Ron, and you'd hate to see some of these young players, even though Alisana is a junior, he is a junior college transfer, so first game for him at this level.
12 penalties, 103 yards against K-State tonight, but they still lead it 13-9. Freeman scrambling pretty well for an injured leg, and he overthrows as Sinderic Marks was putting pressure on, overthrows Dion Murphy.
I think swelling is starting to set in. I know we don't get injury reports from Kansas State, but that looks to me like his ankle is starting to swell on him, Ron. And I know that he does it. He's not sought treatment. Holly said he stayed away, but they should have gotten some type of pressure wrap on that ankle. I know you want to be a tough guy, but it sure looks like his ankle's starting to swell on him.
8th punt of the night by Kansas State. Headed for the sideline, making the catch is done. So let's take a timeout. 10:28 left in our ball game, and the score remains Kansas State 13 and heavily favored Auburn 9.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by the all-new Kia Rondo. Kia, the power to surprise.
So we are back, part of the Capacity House here in Auburn, Alabama tonight. And Auburn is trailing 13-9, and we're about to go under 10 minutes to play in this ball game. Can Brandon Cox get something going offensively? Not time to panic, but they better start thinking about it. He's going to run it. Injured shoulder and all.
You have got to throw a flag. Thank you.
Marcus Perry is the man who will make the tackle. And Perry came in head first.
I was a little nervous there. That took a while for that flag to get out of the pocket, but that was a very dangerous play by Marcus Perry.
Defense leading with the helmet. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Now, if you're an Auburn fan, as we take another look at it, you cannot complain about not getting some breaks, because this right here puts them out with another first down and good field position at the 38-yard line. You got to take advantage of it now.
And it's been conservative all night. They're at 239 yards of total offense. That's not real good with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And it looks like they may start letting Brandon look down the field a little bit.
Draw play. Tate hit behind the line of scrimmage by Eric Childs. Let's go back to Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Ron.
I'll tell you, I'm silent. People are saying we're back. I understand that. We have had a call on the field, and a major penalty stepped off against Auburn, and we're trying to find out it was Rod Smith who was called for a personal foul.
Well, these teams are really trying to find a way to continue to hurt themselves. You get a bad play by a linebacker leading with his head, and then you get a bad play down the field by a wide receiver getting a personal foul to back you up to first and 25.
That was done in motion. They set a screen back to the side to Tate, and I mean some excellent pursuit on the part of Kansas State's Antoine Moore to make the tackle, and virtually no gain on that play.
And Moore's a little gimpy going back to the huddle.
Boy, there's been some hitting on both sides of the field here tonight. Both teams are going to have a busy time in the therapy rooms tomorrow.
Yes. Well, I really like this Antoine Moore. You know, when Rod Prince used the Troy Polamalu name, I thought, let's settle down with the hyperbole, but this young man's had a heck of a game.
Cox over the middle. The ball is incomplete. Smith couldn't hold on, kind of fought it a little bit as Chandler was there with the cover.
You know, we were talking to Coach Prince about strengths and weaknesses of his team, and going into camp they had a lot of concern about the cornerbacks, but they were very happy with the safeties. We've seen these safeties play extremely well.
Ron Prince all the way out in the field talking to that defense as they came off.
It looked like he was upset with them. I thought that was a pretty good series of downs, Coach.
We got a flag. They have run into the kicker. Now, I don't know if it's going to be roughing or not, but the tackle will be made at the 43-yard line, and I believe
it's Antoine Moore.
Yeah, it is Antoine Moore.
I believe, Ron, that they're going to give running into the kicker, not roughing.
Yeah.
Moore ended up down.
Personal foul.
Oh, no. They called a major penalty. Wow. Personal foul. Ron Prince. At halftime, we go back to what he said to Holly. Very prophetic. He said, we've got to stop. We can't kill ourselves. We can't beat ourselves. Let them beat us. Oh, boy. What a difficult situation right here. And Auburn, the beneficiary, and they will gladly take it because they had an unsmart move on their part in that last series.
And I think that was the right call because Moore ended up landing on the kicker while he was still in the air. I think that was the right call by the referee.
And that's 14 penalties for 134 yards as the ball carrier Stewart is hit behind the line of scrimmage by Justin Rowland. And he'll be stopped after a loss of 1.
Boy, Auburn can just not get the inside running game going, Ron, and you've got to think at what point do you just go away from it. Here you are at 8:12 left in the fourth quarter, and they continue to try to run the ball in the middle of the formation, and it's just not happening. They've had guys running through. That time Justin Rowland, the senior, gets there first, but there's just been nothing in the middle of that Kansas State defense.
Fake it to Carl Stewart. Pass thrown. Nice catch, but he had to juggle it because it was a little behind him. Gabe McKenzie finally gathered it, and he'll pick up a couple, and that's it. It'll be 3rd down, and they need to take it to the 49-yard line to hold on to the football. Now, we are down to 7:20 and counting. I think this right here is a gigantic first down.
I agree.
Because the way Kansas State is able to chip away, even with the short passing game,
and eat the clock.
Eat the clock up, exactly. And I think Tommy Tuberville is thinking that exact thing. 3rd down conversions, Auburn only 3 of 14 tonight. Gonna run it, lost his footing and goes down at the 43. Manu was right there on him.
Well, and it's going to be really easy to blame Brandon Cox at the end of this game, but watch the man coverage on each guy, including the tight end. Ron, nobody's open. There's just nobody there. Pocket starts to collapse. Now, I think he took off a little too soon. I think he could have stepped up in the pocket and waited. But at the start of that play, nobody's getting separation from man coverage.
Wobbly kick. Taken on the bounce in a dangerous situation with the defender right there. And then tackled immediately at the 17-yard line is Dion Murphy. 13-9. Kansas State leads, and Murphy put that lead in jeopardy just now. We'll be right back. Well, here's a look at tonight's fresh start presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Notable head coaches at new schools. Butch Davis at Carolina. Dennis Erickson at Arizona State. Of course, Nick Saban at Alabama. Louisville. Steve Craigthorpe. I really like him. I think he does a heck of a job. Jimmy Harbaugh at Stanford and Tommy O'Brien at NC State. Crowd trying to help things out. We've got to keep an eye on the clock now. 6:09 left. Quick out pass, and that is to Nelson. And let's go to the sideline and check in with Holly Rowe. Holly.
Guys, as his offense was waiting to take the field just now, Ron Prince came over and told this Kansas State team this is the moment. He really made the impression on them with an impassioned speech that this is a very critical point in this ballgame. I mean, they're clinging to a very slim lead right here with plenty of time left. So what they want is to get 6 plays. They really want to milk the clock here. He told them about the importance of not making mistakes and shooting themselves in the foot. He wants smart ball right now. This is their moment.
Well, they are very close. We have 5:27 to play. That quick pass, a short pass, but still completed to Dion Murray.
You know, following up on
Murphy,
what Holly just said, I don't think Kansas State can lose this game unless they make a mistake. Some type of interception return for a touchdown, something in the kick game. Big 3rd down for them. I think 6 plays would be great to shrink the clock, but you're not going to get there, obviously, unless you pick up the first. But I don't think you want to get risky, Ron. I think your defense is playing well enough, and Auburn's just not done anything offensively. Don't make a mistake here. I would think about a draw.
Well, James Johnson is the man he would hand it to if he does run the draw. Flag is down, pass over the middle, incomplete.
Yeah,
and it looked like Alisana again.
Yep. That whole left side, I couldn't tell.
What he looks like the whole left side.
Yes,
he is so large. Boy, they may not have had enough men on the line of scrimmage.
Well, I saw movement too, so it may have been both.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. I think it was the movement rather than not enough men up there. Coach Tuberville is pacing and looking at that clock. We're under 5.
False start. Number 78 on the offense. Please reset the game clock to 4 minutes, 44 seconds. 4-4-4.
The crowd liked it. Now you have to go with a silent count, Ron. You cannot expect these linemen to hear this snap count.
See, this is a smart football crowd, and they know what they're doing on this 3rd down play. They're trying to help out their defense just every ounce that they can, and K-State is backed up in close to that student section, just that one huge portion, and that's the reason they're trying to take advantage physically how close they are. Pressure, pass, incomplete. Groves was the man with the pressure.
Well, and here's what noise does when you have to go on movement. Watch the jump that Groves got on Alisana. Watch how quickly he gets that edge. And it becomes, an old coach of mine used to call it, you look like a swinging gate. Whenever you have to just turn your hips and bail, a lineman like that's going to close too fast on the quarterback.
9th punt of the evening. Caught, muffed for a moment at the 37, and then returned to the 41 is Robert Dunn. So we'll take a timeout. 4:26 is all we have left in our ball game. 13-9, Kansas State leads. Now here is tonight's Good Hands flashback presented by Allstate.
Well, during that drive, Kansas State ran 3 trick plays, that one to perfection. And Patton snuck out of the backfield, and Jordy Nelson could put it right on the money. But boy, that's one of the toughest catches to make, Ron. You're standing there all by yourself, and Quentin Groves, the senior, didn't see Patton sneak out. That ball seems like it hangs in the air forever.
Brandon Cox sets deep in the pocket, gets the pass. Rodriguez complete, and Preche is going to have it to the 45-yard line. That's enough for the first down. They got to score a touchdown. The field goal won't do any good right now as the clock runs on down.
And how big was that procedure penalty for Kansas State? Backed you up another 5, got you in that noise. That noise made the left tackle, who had flinched the play before, be laid out of his stance. So Quentin Grove goes and hits the quarterback and makes him throw it before, and they totally flipped the field. That 5-yard penalty totally flipped the field in Auburn's favor. Well,
it really shows the influence that Quentin Groves has had on this ball game, and particularly on that sequence down there. Pressure, quick pass over the middle, had to throw it quickly to Rod Smith, and let's check in quickly with Reese Davis.
All right, Ron, USC off and running.
Okay, Reese, our situation, we're under 4 minutes to play, and Auburn, who is a 2-touchdown favorite in this ball game, is trailing by 9 at the 3:59 mark of the 4th quarter. Cox got it complete. Nobody there defensively, and Rodriguez breaks the tackle, loses the ball. And I believe Auburn has recovered at the 28-yard line.
Tommy Trott, great hustle down the field, following the play. Everyone always thinks it's the defense that has to pursue, but you should always pursue in case something like this happens. Rodriguez never should have fumbled that ball. That wasn't much a hit, but Trott right behind it does a good job of shielding the ball with his body. That would have been a tragic turnover for Auburn. They finally, this is really, since about middle of the first quarter, the first offensive movement that they've gotten.
First down, Tigers from the 28-yard line of Kansas State. Clock runs, 3.5 minutes left in our ball game. Linebackers walking up, quick looking pass, got it complete to Dunn.
That was a nice job by Cox, the senior quarterback. He saw blitz, he saw man, he checked at the line of scrimmage, and Al Borges is so happy that Robert Dunn has stepped up. They didn't have a go-to slot receiver last year. The slot receiver is so important in pressure. That's the guy nearest to the quarterback. He's got to know how to run his slants and outcuts when pressure comes. Nice read by the senior.
Under 3 minutes to play. This time from the shotgun. Another looking. Complete at the 15. Inside the 10. And it is a 1st and goal. Auburn Tigers as James Swinton made the catch. And it's a gain of 16 yards.
Well, we've talked all night about Antoine Moore. Watch Moore right here as he drops off. And when Brandon Cox fires this ball, he's breaking on the ball. And watch it go right by Moore. Excellent job. Cox had to throw that ball perfectly on time, or it's batted down or intercepted.
So here's 1st and goal from the 6. Hands it off to Stewart. A flag is down, and he is going to be knocked out for a 3-yard loss. The running play has just gone virtually nowhere for the Tigers for most of the night.
Boy, I hope Josh Freeman is up moving around on his sideline, Ron.
Auburn is pointing that it's going to be offsides against K-State. Let's see if they're correct. It is.
Well, that's a big mistake. You go from a negative yardage play to repeating 1st down at about the 2 3/4 yard line.
Ron Prince has got to be beside himself. That is 16 penalties against his football team tonight.
On the defense, number 98.
And his school is the one who pulled off the huge upset of Michigan today.
I don't like Josh Freeman just walking around. He should be moving around on that ankle, Ron. I think he's going to come out. Let's say that Auburn scores. He's going to come out and have to drive the length of the field on a very gimpy ankle.
2:15 left in our ball game. Auburn down by 4 and trying to put this in the end zone. Tate checks into the backfield. Number 44. Play action, and they throw to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, McKenzie. Brandon Cox put it perfectly to one of those 3 tight ends who have become so valuable to this Auburn football team. Wes Byram to attempt the extra point, trying to make it a 3-point margin, and he does.
Well, you talked a lot about the maturation of Tommy Trott and Gabe McKenzie last year as freshman when Cole Bennett went out with a broken right ankle. And McKenzie last year was the best pure blocker of the two, and Tommy Trott was the best pure receiver. Both of them worked on the skill set that they weren't very good at. And this time McKenzie is just going to sneak right out. And the linebacker has to get there with him. Well, the safety takes the running back, and the linebacker, Reggie Walker, got sucked up into the line of scrimmage. Remember, we were talking about how conservative Al Borges had called this game. Well, that sucked Reggie Walker right up into the line. Easy pitch and catch.
You could see Marcus Watts there trying to make sure that it was not thrown to the running back, and in that expression of, oh no, where did he come from? And all of a sudden it was way too late as McKenzie, the tight end, had gotten behind him in that corner of the end zone, and it is now a 16-13 ball game. The Auburn Tigers on top, and only 2:01 to play. Now Zach Kutch is about to kick off, and I can tell you, watching him in practice on Thursday, he is the sky kicker. You can look for him to put this one as high as possible and a real spinner, a pooch kick. Kicks it straight away. It is a spinner, and it's fumbled at the 10-yard line. Muffed for a moment and then picked up. 30 at the 35 and then knocked out of bounds. And let's check in with Reese Davis back in the studio. Reese.
All right, Ryan, got a great finish on the family of networks. Your game in Auburn on ABC. Tennessee's back in it. It's 38-31 in the fourth quarter. Lots of time to go there as Cal has the lead. And in the NASCAR Busch Series, the Camping World 300 presented by RV.com. That's on ESPN2. That is currently under red flag conditions. That's what's going on in the family of networks.
Okay, Reese, there are too many dots, what have you, sometimes, aren't there, buddy? Our situation, Kansas State, first down. They have it at their own 34. They're down by 3 points, 1:53 to play. Pass out of the backfield, got it complete to Johnson, and Johnson will take it to the 39 and then step out of bounds.
What an excellent job by this sophomore quarterback. I have been so impressed. He's made a couple of throws that they're going to have to break the habit. Josh Freeman, tries to fit a few balls in, but he can barely move. They brought 4 that time. I think Will Muschamp's going to start bringing 5 and 6 trying to get to this. Take advantage of this crowd because the offensive line for Kansas State can't hear a thing right now.
Second down, they need the 44. Pressure, Groves, pass, almost intercepted through the hands of Patrick Lee, number 20.
Well, Josh Freeman, his eyes have to come down a little bit because Quentin Groves is absolutely blowing right by Alisana. It's just a mismatch. And this ball had to be thrown long before Jordy Nelson got there. And that's just not a good place to go. You've got cover 2, and the corner's backing off enough. That's just not a good throw. But Quentin Groves is right in his face right at the snap, Ron. He doesn't have much of a choice.
30 of 50, 252, and 1 interception tonight. Freeman, here comes pressure. Hit as he throws, it's short. Freeman just got slammed to the turf by Pat Sims.
Well, and this is just not good formation management by Kansas State. They should have a running back on that side. I mean, that time it was not just Groves. It was Groves and Pat Sims getting in there at the exact same time. Look how quickly he goes by, runs right over Alisana. Sims doesn't even get touched by the left guard, Brock Unruh, and it's just not fair. They have to have a running back, or I would have 2 in the backfield. Just not enough. Now they have a back there to help.
Fourth down. Remember, fourth down rules change a lot of situations, particularly on fumbles. Ball is caught. And good for the first down by Mastrud, the tight end.
Well, and that time, finally, the adjustment was made by Ron Prince. Remember, Ron was an offensive line coach and offensive coordinator at UVA. And that time they took James Johnson, the running back, put him to the left. They'll do it again here. He's got to help out.
Clock just started again. 129, 128. Pressure from the backside. Hit as he throws. Almost intercepted again.
Well, and that time they brought Quentin Groves out of the game. And they brought Antoine Carter in to rush in his place. And now Groves comes back in. Will Muschamp just trying to get as much pressure as possible. Again, you've got to help up front. Josh Freeman can pick apart the secondary if he has time. He's done it all night.
1:23 left on the clock. Auburn 16, Kansas State 13. Pressure backside. Groves has got him. Ball is loose. Picked up by Auburn. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Antonio Coleman. The celebration is just beginning. This one will go on into the night as Quentin Groves hit the quarterback, did not see him, knocked the ball loose, and then Antonio Coleman, the beneficiary, picking up the loose ball that goes into the end zone. And in the paper tomorrow, people look at it and say, well, Auburn won it going away. That is not the case at all, is it?
And I put this one on the Kansas State coaches. They have to give Alisana a chance there and put a running back on that side. I don't know if they would have won, Ron, but they have to give their quarterback a chance, and they didn't line up a running back on that side.
Dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct after the play. Number 54 against Auburn took his helmet off in the field of play. 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So the penalty will come on the kickoff because of the celebration on the part of Auburn. We have 1:11 showing on the clock. 2 sacks tonight. You saw the career number of 25. As the kick is up and it's good, and that makes it a 23-13 ball game, a 10-point lead with 1:11 showing on the clock.
Well, Quentin Groves came back to improve his stock, and boy, the first game was a pretty good one. Just runs right by Alisana. We didn't have a chance around that. That crowd noise really started to play a factor. We didn't hear it the entire game, and it really played a factor there at the end. When we watch the film, that was the one thing, Ron. When he gets going, when Groves gets going, he's got amazing speed to the quarterback. And that's a lot of force hitting Josh Freeman and knocking that ball loose.
And again, it's going to be Zach Kutch who will kick it off for the Auburn Tigers. Well, this crowd is up and really in it now. And I'll tell you, they're a big part of what has happened very late in this ball game. But no more than about 5 minutes ago on the clock, they did not have this opportunity because it appeared for all the world that Kansas State was going to pull off still another stunning upset in this first Saturday of the college season. And when you get down to it, I understand the point you're making, Ed, but I can't call the coaches out because they didn't commit 18 penalties either.
No, that's a good point.
You know,
oh yeah, and they could have been further ahead if not for those penalties, Ron. Absolutely.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. They continued to penalize themselves with, you know, just not being smart enough. We saw why Alessandra, why, you know, he was flinching because Groves just
had such a jump on the ball.
Oh, he did, and he had gotten between his ears as far as the kid knew what he was up against.
Well, it's so hard when you get into that silent count. It's a rhythm count, and the defensive line figures out that rhythm. And Quentin Groves had the rhythm down the entire fourth quarter.
Well, he's going to take it back to the 48-yard line. 1:04 to play. Reese Davis, let's check back with you.
All right, Ron, I want you to keep your eyes on Vidal Hazelton of USC. Against Idaho, John David Booty throws it up. Oh! Do they have a few receivers on that ball club? Vidal Hazelton with a touchdown catch at 21-0 Trojans.
Well, the Vandals just got vandalized. What a catch.
Well, they're not going to give up. Minute 4, 3 timeouts, 10 points, get down to about the 30, 25, kick the field goal, don't mess around with time, and then try an onside kick if you can do it.
64 seconds left. Short drop, quick look in, thrown behind the intended receiver, Gonzalez.
Stay in that hurry-up mode, and they've moved some more people around. Quentin Groves, no, not in the game right now. Needs a little bit of a break. Of course, when you score, you have all that adrenaline. That takes away some of your energy as well.
Second down and 10. Pass thrown out of bounds and incomplete. Let me make a point, another thing about Kansas State. I think Lou Holtz made a great point today about, okay, Appalachian State, and they may be a different division from Michigan. The kids understand and know how to win because they've won back-to-back national championships. And I think that goes a long way. I totally agree with him. Case in point for K-State. They haven't learned how to win yet. And this one tonight, they're going to go back and look at this thing and say, we had this football game, and a good football team took advantage of what we didn't take advantage of.
Well, you go back to your point about all the penalties, Ron. You start to clean up what you're doing. Listen, they outplayed Auburn.
Yeah, they did.
For 3 3/4 of this game. You know, one drive by Auburn goes down. Kansas State uses one of their remaining 3. Our new drop-down menu. The dots underneath each team representing the timeouts left. But
that's right. There's not a glitch on your television.
But that's the guy, Tommy Tuberville, whose teams know how to win. We showed earlier, they're number 3 in the last 3 years in winning percentage in all of college football. Just hung in there. And the mistakes of Kansas State was really what gave them the chance to win.
Well, next we have shown you this earlier. Miami at Oklahoma. That's our game for this crew. 11 o'clock Central Time on ABC. NC State at BC on ESPN2. Oregon at Michigan. We'll see how the Wolverines rebound. That's on ABC. And then South Carolina, Georgia, Notre Dame, Penn State, and Virginia Tech against LSU. What a weekend of viewing next weekend in college football. Over the middle, intercepted. Picked off by number 59, Chris Evans. And Chris is going to take it back to the midfield strike. And again, it was Quentin Groves with the pressure. And Ed, let me make one other point about what has happened here tonight. 7 defensive penalties on K-State gave Auburn a first down.
So just time and time again, Ron.
Yeah.
First ball game, you've got 15 of your top of your 2 deep are junior college guys, so first year out there. You've got some freshmen playing. You're going to have those growing pains. The hard part, Ron, is you hope for Kansas State that they can grow from this and it doesn't deflate them going into San Jose State, Missouri State, and then they play Texas. Let's hope they can learn from this.
And listen, it doesn't get easier for the Auburn Tigers as they're going to take a knee right here. South Florida comes in here next Saturday to play the Tigers. That's the same South Florida team that knocked off West Virginia in West Virginia last year. And I'll tell you, they have more returning starters coming back than anybody in the Big East, and not one of them is a senior.
But things get really easy after that for Auburn, because then all they have to do is go on the road to Florida, Arkansas, LSU, and Georgia during the SEC season. So Tommy said, you know, my most inexperienced team may have the toughest schedule we've ever had. It's going to be a wild ride, and it was a wild ride tonight to pull this one off.
Ron Prince sprints across the field to congratulate Tommy Tuberville. And I think I know Tuberville well enough also that he would be gracious and probably said, hey, your kids, he may have even said, your kids outplayed us tonight for most of this ball game. And they did.
Well, there's a shot of Josh Freeman and Brandon Cox. Both of those young men are going to have to go lay in an ice bath for the next 2 days.
So our final score is Auburn 23 and K-State 13. For Ed Cunningham and Holly Rowe, I'm Ron Franklin saying so long from Auburn. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more on tonight's game, tune into ESPN News for a post-game extra. Now let's join Neil Everett and Scott Van Pelt for Sports Center.